All right. Hey, looks like I am live here. Awesome. This is YouTube Live. This is Tyler James jumping on here for a little Comics Launch Live. Thank you so much for tuning into this broadcast. And the main reason that I'm jumping on live tonight is just to invite anyone who is watching this who happens to be one of my YouTube subscribers. I want to invite you to the challenge that I'm doing that's starting up on Monday. It is called the ComixLaunch Challenge. This is a challenge that I've actually done a number of times now. All the details can be found over at ComixLaunch.com/funded challenge. There's a longer URL to that, and so I'll just throw that in the chat notes there. But yeah, this is a challenge where what we're going to do in about 5 days, it's going to run from Monday, April 15th, all the way to the end, to Friday, the 19th. And what we're going to do is we're going to plan your first or next comic book Kickstarter in 5 days. And it's a challenge that is perfectly applicable to both veteran Kickstarter creators and creators who are planning their very first launch. And it will even be helpful to creators that maybe haven't even given Kickstarter a reasonable thought or a reasonable shot. Maybe you're thinking Kickstarter may or may not be for you. Well, guess what? I've had creators that have gone through this challenge that I've done in the past who entered it sort of just on a whim and had no idea. And by going through the challenge, it gave them some of the inspiration, some of the knowledge, some of the plans, some of the steps in order to first come up with that idea and then really plan a solid plan around it. And the challenge, what's nice about it is it's 5 days. Each day is only about, the activities that I'll give you will take about 15 minutes. And then it will culminate in a live workshop where we'll get together. And at the end of that workshop, you'll have a one-page plan, like a one-page game plan that will map out your next launch. And so I'm really excited to be presenting this to all of you. And I really do hope you'll join. So again, you can jump over to ComixLaunch.com/funded challenge. You can find out all the details about that. This is a challenge for writers, for artists, for self-publishers, for comic book creators. And the main reasons you're going to want to join are for you're going to get an actionable Kickstarter game plan. I'm going to give you 5 days of essentially no BS Kickstarter training that's designed to give you a clear vision of how to go from start to funded. Each day is going to include 5 actionable lessons that will be taught by me. And then you'll also, it'll take place inside a private Facebook group. There are already 250 plus creators that have registered for the challenge. And the private Facebook group is filling up, and creators are actually already interacting in there and sharing their stuff and doing some cool things over there. So I wanted to just make sure that you know about that. And that's another big reason to do this. It's not just for your next Kickstarter, but there's also going to be opportunities to network and cross promote with other creators, to share if you've got an email list, if you've got certain projects, et cetera, that you're working on, you may find your next big collaborator, your next big partner. And so I really do hope you'll jump in and check out who else is involved, because one of the things that I found is absolutely critical and absolutely makes the world of difference is being tied into and tapping into the other creators that are doing the kinds of things that you want to do in this world. It's incredibly powerful. So I hope you will definitely make some new connections inside the challenge. And then the last but definitely not least, you're going to be able to get some of your Kickstarter questions answered. I know, because I've been doing a podcast for over 3 years now. I'm closing in on 200 episodes. And guess what? I haven't even scratched the surface on all of the Kickstarter and crowdfunding and building a creative career related questions that come up from creators like you. And so you're going to have a chance to get some of those questions answered in a very safe, supportive environment that I'm looking forward to providing for you. And so We'll definitely bring your questions, bring lots of them. We'll dive into it, and it's a chance to really get in there. This is one of the things that's my favorite thing to do, and I've done this challenge a couple times. This will be sort of a revamped and revised version of a challenge that I've successfully done a few times now. Over 600 creators have gone through the challenge in the past. We're hoping to have several hundred creators involved in this year's the new challenge, the 2019 challenge. And this is really one of the most high impact things that I do related to Comics Launch and related to what essentially is my vision of making comics the category on Kickstarter with the highest success rate. We're not there yet. We're still in the number 3 position, but we're closing ranks on and with by the end of the year, we almost definitely will be in the number 2 spot, and there's still a chance that we could hit number 1 by the end of this year. And I hope many of you that are watching this will be a part of making that happen. There's also going to be some surprise bonuses and other prizes for active challenge participants. So you definitely want to do your work. And we've had a lot of creators go through this, and it's really helped them just move their next launch forward. So I'm hoping that will do something for them and for all of you as well. All right. And so I just wanted to hop on live. Another reason I hopped on live is just to see what would happen if I hopped on live over here on YouTube. I actually have never done any live streaming from the YouTube platform. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just play a little bit, and I'm going to share this on Twitter and see if anybody jumps over. And I will also be talking a little bit just to see what's going on here. But for those of you that are watching, again, all the details you can get over at comixlaunch.com/funded challenge. That's where you can find all the details for the Kickstarter challenge. And if you have any questions, if you're watching live, go ahead and toss them into the chat. Love to hear about them. But this is really an opportunity for you to get some support planning your next Kickstarter launch, and get some feedback, get some other set of eyes, and get some ideas that you might not come up with just on your own. And that's definitely something that I've always found is the more you can collaborate, the more you can chat about what it is that you're trying to create in advance of that launch, the better that launch is ultimately going to be. And I've had some creators be like, Tyler, I don't think I'm even going to be launching this year, or my project's nowhere near done, so maybe this challenge isn't for me. And what I'll tell you is the best crowdfunders, the best creative business owners, they're planning not just a few weeks or a few days in advance. They're planning months ahead. I was talking to one of my friends who's doing some work for one of the best entertainment brands in the world, and he says they have a solid locked-in roadmap for everything that they're delivering for the next 18 months. All right, now I'm definitely not there in my creative business, but I want to get there because I'm trying to model what works from others. And so that's a lot of what I'll be bringing to you guys inside the Comics Launch Challenge. So again, there's a link in the show notes. The easy link to remember is just I'll just throw in http://comixlaunch.com/funded challenge is the sign up link if you haven't signed up to the challenge yet, but we'd love to have you in. Now, while I'm on here, I'm just going to actually record something that I'll use in probably a future Comics Launch podcast episode or something. But there's a topic that I want to discuss a little bit. And this is the topic around something that a lot of first-time Kickstarter creators, it's a mistake a lot of first-time Kickstarter creators make. And it's not in anything that they do, it's in how they think. It's in the mind game, it's in the mental state. And so I was talking to a creator today who was sort of in panic mode because he felt like his campaign was failing. And he felt like it was failing because he only has like 10 backers right now, and those backers are all friends and family. And he felt like it was, just something that that's like he can get people that already know, like, and trust him, and would that they'll support him. But he's really having trouble getting anyone outside of that, or feeling like he's getting no traction growing his audience or getting eyeballs from quote unquote real fans, right? And so this is something that a lot of first-time Kickstarter creators do. They will launch, and a lot of them get funded. But then what they do in their heads is they go back and they look at the names of all the backers and what they pledged, and they start coming up with all these reasons in their head why that funding or that result that they got with their launch, well, didn't really count. They discount it. They downplay the success of their launch, and they question its legitimacy because they're saying, well, I received some big pledges from a family member or friends and family, and so that doesn't count. They're not real backers. But I don't want you to do this. Like, don't do this. Every backer counts. And the funds from people who already know, like, and trust you, like, they're just as valid as the pledges that come in from people who are complete strangers. That money spends just as good as the money that you'll get from complete strangers. And the legitimacy or delegitimacy, that's all in your head. Because I guarantee you, no one, literally no one except for you, is going in and doing the bean counting and paying attention to who it was that backed your campaign, or what the breakdown was between friends and family versus people that are genuine, fans that just discovered you and had to have it. Like, no one is doing that calculus except for you. And if you're doing that calculus and you're making it that story be, this is a negative, well, guess what you're doing? You're sabotaging your own results and your own success. You have to understand, almost everyone that does a Kickstarter campaign or launches a business or has any sort of success in any sort of career does it with the support and the backing and the snowball starting of friends and family. There are probably people in your world that you look up to that are like, they have it all together. Like the lawyer or the doctor or the brain surgeon or anyone. Like, you look up to, this person has it all together. How did they get it all together? Well, most of them went to very expensive medical school that was paid for in a large part by their parents or their friends and family or gifts from others, right? And so why do they get a pass, but you, with your creative careers and creative endeavors, don't give yourself that same leeway? I mean, our current president, right? Our current president, do you think there's any chance in hell that this person would have made it to the presidency or would have had any success in life at all had he not had a $140 million head start thanks to his daddy? Like, that's a head start in life. That's a head start in business, right? Like, and so, and yet that is all right. And that's how, that's what it took. And so I don't want you to do this. And I want to share something that a creator that I have a lot of respect for, I admire a lot, and I've seen him have tremendous growth over the past couple of years, and a creator that's been in the Kickstarter challenge a number of times. And he's actually, because he's done such great work in the challenge in the past, I actually asked him to be a moderator for this year's challenge. And that's Shane Walsh-Smith. He is a comic creator from Australia. And he said, he responded to this. He's like, that's exactly right. And he said his first successful Kickstarter launch was 90% funded by friends and family. 90%. All right. Now, there are some creators out there that if that was the case for them, if that was the result, they would never launch again, because they would be like, you know what? No one really wants this. It's just friends and family. I don't want to bother my friends and family again. I'm just throwing in the towel. I'm not going to do it. But Shane launched again. And guess what? That next launch, it wasn't a complete flip. That next launch was 75% funded by friends and family. But it also drew in some new people, and a lot more new people than before. And but what happened was Shane kept launching, kept growing, kept getting better at this. Now, with the help of that Kickstarter funding, he was then able to take his stuff to the next level. He was able to get stuff printed and out into the world. And on his most recent Kickstarter launch, that flip that script has been flipped completely. He still does have some friends and family support coming in. Like, that's never going to go away completely, hopefully. But it was 90% funded by people that he had never met, by fans, by people discovering him on the Kickstarter platform and elsewhere, but not friends and family. But imagine if Shane had let that first result and had told himself the story, well, I can't make this because my first launch was only backed by friends and family. So obviously I'm not cut out for this. And then he just stopped and never launched again. He'd never get to that result of a 90% funded by people that he's never met. He'd never get to that result of having all of these books out into the world and having all of these fans and having all of this success on the Kickstarter platform and all this confidence to keep doing it and keep growing and keep trying new things, which is something that Shane does all the time. So don't discount any backer. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if it's your friends and family. All right. It doesn't matter how long they've known you. Don't discount it. That's how we all get the ball rolling. But if you stick with it, and if you stay positive and you deliver on your what you do here, you deliver for your backers, they're going to keep coming and coming and coming. And in that, they're going to help you attract the people that are your true fans. All right. So with all that said, I want to thank you so much for tuning in tonight, for watching here on YouTube. I will be jumping in more on YouTube Live from time to time. So hopefully you'll check us out from time to time as well. And thanks so much for watching. And remember, go jump in ComixLaunch.com/funded challenge. Sign up. We begin Monday, April 19th. I'm looking forward to serving you there, and I can't wait to see what you launch next.